Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Seth, clinical psychologist, and I'm going to talk in this video today about a problem that a lot of people have, and it's something that I think we need to become more aware of so that we can figure out how to solve the problem better. The problem, people pleasing. Are you a pathological people pleaser? Do you often find yourself saying yes, not ever giving yourself permission to say no? A lot of times people please for different reasons. And underneath it all, they are often hoping that if they people please enough, that one day they will finally arrive at a point where other people will finally be able to meet their needs and focus on what they want. So it's actually this kind of insurance policy. Maybe if I'm the best little boy in the world, or I'm the best little girl in the world, and I do whatever I need to be liked, to be needed, to be important, to be productive, then finally there will come a day when I get what I want. The problem is that doesn't really work. What I want to talk about in this video mostly, though, is the reasons for people pleasing. So there are a few basic reasons why someone is a people pleaser. The first reason can be that a person is a people pleaser because they need to be needed by others. If they are in a relationship with a group of people, it could be at work or at home, they need to make themselves extremely valuable. They need other people to need them. And so they will help. They will help everyone with everything. They are the person people go to for everything. They are seen as really incredibly reliable, helpful, productive people. But deep down, the person may really want to be needed. They may need to be needed. The problem with this is that other people become really dependent on them. Now, if a people pleaser looks around at the people in their life, at home or at work, and sees how dependent everyone is on them, that may actually make them feel comforted deep down. Now, yes, it may at times make them feel frustrated. They may feel like they have a lot of pressure. They may feel like they have a lot of demands, but deep down, they may actually feel comforted by the fact that everyone needs them, that they are invaluable. They may also believe that people will need them so much that no one would ever leave them, that if it's at a job, no one would ever fire them because they make themselves that invaluable. Or if it's in a personal relationship, a family relationship, a romantic relationship, that no one would ever leave them because everybody needs them so much. It's not a malicious form of control, but it is a very sophisticated type of controlling behavior where everyone becomes dependent on you because you become so helpful, you do so much, but you actually end up enabling some of the dysfunction in this dynamic. The truth is, in a system, whether at work or at home, in a system, a group of people, everyone should have a role, everyone should contribute, everyone should participate. It's not that one person should be the one who does, quote unquote, everything. But people pleasers will often find themselves in the role of doing everything, and later it can cause serious resentment. Why do some people pleasers engage in this behavior? They do it because they need to be needed. They may have a pathological need to be needed by others and for others to depend on them. A second reason why people pleasers may people please is because they tell themselves they do this out of necessity. They don't have a choice but to be a people pleaser. They tell themselves, if I were not to do all the things that I do, then it wouldn't get done. Things wouldn't get done. Things would suffer. And the people pleaser is sure they are right about that. Here's the problem with that. If the people pleaser is constantly pleasing and always overcompensating for everyone else not doing as much, the other people really don't have a reason to step up and change. So it's only when a people pleaser starts to say no a little bit more that the other people around them start to say, whoa, I guess I've got to change my own behavior. And finally, the third reason that I'll focus on why a lot of times people are people pleasers is due to a root problem of fear. Fear. A lot of times, if you talk to a people pleaser, or if you are the people pleaser and you're really honest with yourself and you ask yourself, why do I do it? Why don't I say no? Think about the different relationships that you have where you have a really hard time saying no. A lot of times deep down, there's fear. There is fear. You may feel afraid if you were to say no, if you were to draw boundaries and ask other people to step up. Maybe people wouldn't like you as much, that maybe people wouldn't need you, that maybe people could leave you, that maybe people wouldn't see how special you are. Sometimes with people pleasers, there's this underlying drive deep down to try to prove how valuable they are, how special they are by doing so much, by being the best little boy or the best little girl in the world, even though you probably are a full adult, fully of an adult age, but that there is that little part of you, this old best little boy in the world, this best little girl in the world mentality that you have carried with you for years. But a lot of times it relates to an underlying fear and anxiety deep down that is the way that you get noticed. That is the way people will care about you. That is the way that you get love, is to focus more on everyone else's needs, to cater to everyone else, to prioritize everyone else above you. People may call you things like, oh, you're so generous and you're so giving. But really, how generous and giving do we really want to be? It's good and healthy to be generous and giving, but to a point. It is not selfish to think about your own needs. What's important is to think about a balance. First, you meet some of the important needs that you have, and then you're able to focus on some of the needs of others. But you can't just prioritize others' needs. Now, if you're a parent, when those children are young, yes, it is true. You must prioritize certain needs of the children above your own. But that's really an exception. For the most part, as adults, we really need to remember that we do have needs, and that pathological people-pleasing is just a different way of selling yourself short and undermining your own value. It's something to be aware of. The first step is gaining insight. The second step is thinking about what changes you can make in your behavior. Now, one of the things that you can do is you can get a good book on people-pleasing behavior that can be helpful. You can also begin the process of starting therapy to work on these issues. This is not a problem, by the way, that has a quick fix. It is usually going to take a few different actions to solve it. The first step, though, is getting educated about it, understanding better what's going on, and also take a moment and think about what are 2 or 3 of the relationships in my life where I tend to people please the most. Are those at home? Are those in my family? Are those in my extended family? Are those in my romantic relationship? Are those at work? Think about the 2 or 3 relationships where it is most difficult for you to say no. And then, if you can be really brave, have a conversation with those people and say, one of the things that you're working on is learning how to say no to things when you feel overwhelmed, when you have too many demands on you, and that you are learning to ask for help occasionally. I hope this video has been helpful. You know, we talk about this topic and other topics on the podcast that I do every week, Insight with Dr. Seth, a podcast that we look at a topic from a psychological perspective every week. So you can check that out, Insight with Dr. Seth. Feel free to like this video if it's helpful, or you can follow us on Instagram, Insight Dr. Seth Podcast. I hope you all have a good rest of the day.